What's cooking, everybody? Dave Altizer here with Kinotika. Today we're doing an unboxing and a first look at Sony's large sensor GoPro competitor, the RX0. Happy Mustache Movember, everybody. This summer, Sony released a really interesting camera, the RX0 or the RX0. Now, Sony's the first to say that this camera is not a GoPro competitor, but this camera is really being compared to the GoPro because of its small size and its waterproof housing. But if you look at the specs of this camera, they really couldn't be further from a GoPro. Inside this nice microfiber cloth, a small chunky box with a Zeiss lens and a 1-inch sensor. There it is, the Sony RX0. The power button is on the left-hand side of the camera and it easily turns the camera on almost too quickly and could definitely be triggered by accident. The front of the camera is pretty straightforward and has the Zeiss emblem with the Sony logo. When you go through the menu system, it really looks like somebody took an A7 camera and shrunk it down into a tiny little screen. On the bottom of the camera is a proper 1/4-20 thread, which is great because you don't need adapters. Out of the box, the front of the camera has a waterproof housing, but you can unscrew that and put on a filter adapter. The camera accepts micro SD cards, which is no surprise. One thing that I love about this camera is that you can charge it through the USB port, so you can just use the same charger that you use for your phone. Sony really has targeted this camera as a professional tool, and having a proper mic input goes in line with what they're trying to achieve. Along with the mic input is a micro HDMI output, which gives you a 422 uncompressed 4K output. All three of these outputs really make this camera professional, but can also defeat the purpose of the small size of this camera. Sony does provide a cable clamp that is great and prevents the cables from popping out or breaking. Because this camera inherits a lot of the same things in the RX100 series, you also get different picture profiles, which is fantastic. I personally loaded in one of my favorite profiles from EOS HD, the Pro Color profile. This is the Pro Color profile. Here's the S-Log2. And here it is graded. This is a standard Sony profile. This is the EOS HD Pro Color 3.0 profile. This is a S-Log2 profile. Because this camera shares a lot of the same specs as the RX100 camera, it also has amazing slow motion. Here you can see me eating a taco in slow motion. This is at 120 frames per second and it looks pretty clean. In fact, in better lighting, it would probably be very good. This is at 240 frames per second, a little bit noisier. And this is at 950 frames per second. Obviously the image is much noisier and it also cropped in on the sensor. With good lighting, however, this could actually be used. Part of Sony's marketing for this camera is to get multiple cameras and set it up in an array. When you line them up, you can create a bullet time effect, just like the Matrix. When it comes to still photography, the RX0 is no slouch either. With an effectively 15 megapixel sensor and a burst rate of up to 16 frames per second, this camera is great. And it also has this interesting anti-distortion shutter mode, which solves the issue you have with electronic shutter. The screen size is quite a bit smaller than the GoPro, and it is not a touch screen. It navigates through the buttons on the side and on the bottom. Even though the GoPro and the RX0 are similar in size, they couldn't be more different. The Sony RX0 is a very fascinating camera. It's a very niche type of tool. If you're a vlogger or a YouTuber and you want image quality as good as this, then I would recommend going with the RX100 series. You can actually shoot 4K internally, and you get the nice flip out screen and the autofocus. This camera does have a focusing system, but it's really basic and it doesn't seem to really do more than just infinity focus. You can get a little bit close from 0.5 to 1 meters, which is roughly 39 inches. So the selfie shot would be somewhat in focus, but if you're gonna be doing selfie mode, vlog style stuff, then just get an RX100. Where this camera actually makes sense is where I believe Sony actually wants this camera to be used, and that is in professional filmmaking and television productions. One show that comes to mind, obviously, is the Carpool Karaoke show. In that show, they use a lot of different GoPros. I think they use the Blackmagic cameras as well sometimes. I could see this camera being great for just car shots, interior shots like that. Is this camera a GoPro? No, it's not a GoPro. You don't have the amazing image stabilization that you get with the Hero 6. We're gonna be doing a comparison video between the two cameras, but I'll just tell you flat out that this is a completely different category of camera. It may look like a GoPro, it may be about roughly the same size, but it is not a GoPro. So because I don't have a 4K recorder, I wasn't able to test the 4K files that can come off of this camera. From what I've seen online, it looks really promising. You get a great 422 codec coming out of here. And again, that really fits in with where I believe Sony wants this camera to be used, and that is in professional TV and film. You can mount this camera anywhere you want and then just run a cable from the camera to your recorder and you've got 4K footage. So if you're in the market for a truly professional action camera, then look into buying the RX0. Rent it before you buy it. It's an odd camera and it's kind of a weird niche product. So definitely rent this camera before you buy it. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and please give us a comment. I want to know what you guys thought of this video and if there's any reviews or specific things that you guys want for me to do in the future. Once again, I'm Dave Altizer from Kinatika. See you next time.